Session 3, manage containers. Remember, OpenShift requires some prerequisites, the bare minimum prerequisites, which includes the containers and container management and creating a container for an application. Obviously, until and unless we have containerized applications, we can't think of container, or we can't think of OpenShift. So we have a lot of prerequisites. So this training is a comprehensive program on OpenShift, which starts with the containers. So managing containers, session 3. Learning objective of this session is manipulate pre-built container image to create and manage containerized services. In other words, you will download a sample application or image, you will make changes into it, you will create a new image, containerized service, you will run it and manage it. So manipulating pre-built container images to create and manage containerized service is the learning objective, and that's what you should be able to achieve. I'm going to demonstrate that. I'm going to explain the concepts, important topics. So it's going to be complete learning, which include building of basics and then working with the containers and actually a real sample or scenario where we will be working with it. Production ready containers. When we think about that, production ready containers, what are the building blocks you need to think about? You need to think about container image. You need to think about registry server. You need to think about container orchestration. And you also need to think about container host, where the container is going to run. All these three building blocks are very important. We are going to understand all of them in detail. Container image. Open source code or libraries in Linux distribution in a tarball. That's a simple one-line definition. What is a container image? Even the base image are made up of layers, which include libraries like glibc, libssl, the binaries like httpd, the packages like rpms, the dependency management using yum, the repositories like rhl7, image layers and tags like this is image, this is tag. At scale across teams of developers and CI/CD, continuous integration and continuous deployment systems, consider all the necessary technologies which you need. That makes the container image. So this is image layer, for example. This includes the httpd, which is binary, the library, then image, another layer added to it, right? So we have multiple image layers, and this details are stored into config.json, manifest.json, and image index will have the details. This is basically container image, what it consists of. I'm sure now it is clear to you. Container image parts, a lot of payload media types in the container image, like image index or manifest.json file. It provides index of image layers, what all image layers are there, like architecture, specify specific image layer tree, and config, what config will have. So image layer provide change sets, adds or deletes of files to the image. Then we have config.json. This provides command line options, environment variables, time created, and much more about the image. Not actually a single image, really repositories of image layers. These are the parts of image layers governed by OCI image specification standard. Layers are change sets. Each layer has adds or deletes. Like for example, this is one image layer, add this or delete this. So each image layer is permutation in time. Different files can be added, updated or deleted with each change set. Still, it relies on package management and for dependency resolution. Still relies on dynamic linking at runtime. So we have layers which we tag, for example, latest or 4.01 or 4.0.0. So we keep on adding or deleting layers. That's a layers are actually what change sets to the existing image layers. Container image and user options. It comes with default binaries to start, environment variables, etc. Each image layer is a permutation in time, as I said. Different files can be added, updated or deleted with each image set. Still relies on package management for dependency resolution. Still dynamic linking at runtime. So what we do as a user, we use user options specified, use image variables, user plus user options plus runtime defaults will result into config.json file. So the container engine takes these inputs from the user, use existing layers from the image container repository, and then pass on these variables or options and the defaults by means of config.json, and then kernel run this as a container. So this becomes a running container after these inputs. This is how container image and user options works together. Container registries. Container service, a registry service is better than virtual appliance marketplace. Defines a standard way to find images, run images, build new images, share images, pull images, introspect images, shell into running container, etc., etc., and etc. So optimized for agility and optimized for stability. So these are image registries which we have application and infrastructure updates tightly coupled, like traditional host will have kernel space, operating system dependencies, and then application. So registry servers provide you the management of images. Container registry and storage. Mapping image layers, covering push, pull, and registry. By means of REST API like blobs or manifest and tags, image scanning like Claire, CVE tracking like Irata, scoring container health index, graph drivers overlay 2 or DM, and then responsible for manipulating chain of custody for secure image from registry to container host. So that's how the container registry works. So the container host will have image layers, that's what we discussed in the previous session also, and container registry will have these image layers stored. By means of push or pull, you use these images, manage these images in the registry. So you start with quality repositories. Repositories depend on good packages. Determining the quality of repository requires metadata, and metadata like Irata is a simple to explain, hard to build. Security fixes, bug fixes, enhancements. Per container image layer like tag often maps to multiple packages. So that is, for example, Quay, Red Hat Container Catalog. We have container repositories where we have image layers, and the most important thing is MITRE, that is Mitre CVE, RHCSA, Irata, RHSA, Irata, and we manage these affected RPMs in the container repositories. Scoring repositories, images age is like cheese, not like wine. So over age they become meaningless, they go out of the scope. Based on severity and age of security Irata, trust is temporal. Even good images go bad over time because the world changes around you, so the images also changes around you. When you work with container images, obviously everything is changing. Library regions is changing, binaries are changing, expectations are changing, configuration is changing, everything is changing, so image has to change. push, pull, and signing, mapping image layers. Like MongoDB repository, image layers and different versions, layers and tags. Like MongoDB repository, image layers, by means of HTTPD, we use various layers to it. Different, like MySQL repository, Nginx repository, image layer, MongoDB, right? So this is a registry. Container hosts. Containers don't run on Docker. Internet is wrong if you are searching on this. Very important corrections from the Docker perspective. Containers do not run on Docker. Containers are processes, as I told you in the previous session. They run on the Linux kernel. Containers are processes. Very important. Docker daemon is one of many user space tools or libraries that talks to the kernel to set up containers. So that gives you an interface. If you search internet using Docker architecture, whole bunch of images you see, they are lies, they are wrong. Because container run in kernel, containers are processes. Docker just facilitates it. Docker just is a layer in between kernel and the container. Processes versus containers. Actually, there is no processes versus container in the kernel. There is no concept. User space and kernel work together. There is only one process ID structure in the kernel, and there are multiple humans and technical definitions for the containers. Container engines are one technical implementation which provide both the methodology and a definition for the containers. Because you should never get confusion in that. It's very simple. You talk to shell talk to kernel by making system calls. So users or developers or sysadmin use shell, and that is user space, processes and libraries. You use like ps-ef or cat etc passwd or docker run or ps-ef. All these commands you are running in user space. This is your space. And a kernel data structure is different. We have process ID table, and processes have their IDs. That's it. There should be no confusion on this. The container engine, this was a new concept introduced with Docker engine and the CLI. Think of Docker engine as a giant proof of concept. Container images, registry service, ecosystems of pre-built images, container engine, container runtime, often get confused, but container image builds, API, CLI, a lot of moving pieces together makes the container engine. That, for example, you see here CLI options. Managing containers. In general, the development workflow look like this. Create and test individual containers for each component of your application by first creating Docker images. Assemble your containers and supporting infrastructure into a template application. Test, share, and deploy your complete containerized applications. In this part, in this session, we'll look at this part. We shall talk about the first part. Create and test individual containers for each component of your application by first creating Docker images. So by the end of the session, you will learn how to create Docker images. To get a new Docker image, you can either get it from registry such as Docker Hub or create your own. You can also search the image directly from the command line using Docker search. The base image and child image concept needs to be very clear. The base image are images that have no parent images, usually images with operating system like Ubuntu, Alpine or Debian. And child images are images that build on base images and add additional functionality to the base image. Official image and user images. Official images are Docker sanctioned images. Like Docker Incorporate sponsors a dedicated team that is responsible for reviewing and publishing all official repositories content. These are not prefixed by an organization or username. And then we have user images. The images that created and shared by users like you and me. They are built on base images and additional functionality added to them. Typically, these are formatted as user followed by /image name. The user value in the image name is your Docker store user or organization name. So containers with Docker file. To manipulate an existing image, we use a Docker file. We are going to create the Docker file. We are going to see a sample image in a short while from now. In this presentation itself, in this demonstration. A Docker file is a plain text file that contains instructions that tells the Docker build engine how to create an image. The primary responsibilities of a Docker file includes detailing the parent image or the initial state that image should start from, and providing metadata about the author and the image properties, and outlining the exact commands to run during the build process, and specifying the runtime condition for the containers spawned from an image. That's what is there in the Docker file, and we are going to look at the Docker file. Then we have Docker build. Once a Docker file is defined, the Docker build command can interpret it and combine it with the build context. Let me tell you, we are going to go into the depth of this Docker file. Not in this session, but yes, in coming up session. In this session, we are going to use a minimum Docker file, minimum set of instruction, but we have to understand the Docker file in detail, in depth, and that's coming up session. So subscribe to this channel, press the bell icon to get informed when you get the next lecture on this topic. Now, a file path or URL representing a working directory to create a new container image. This process enables simpler automation and leaves a good record of the action taken to create the image. Advantages of using Docker file. Docker file can be checked into source control, and builds can be generated automatically by CI/CD processes as part of the development and release cycle. Overall, this method of building images is self-documenting, and Doc offers more repeatability and flexibility than building images interactively. Obviously, yes. Let's start with it. So we are going to install Git and clone the example project from the GitHub. So yum install git-y, then clone it and go to the directory, and we are going to investigate the directory. Let's start and check this process. Yum install git-y. So already installed. Let's pull the image registry, git clone docker samples node build bulletin board. Now go to the directory and let's study it a bit. Vi, let's look at the directories and the files created here. You see there's a directory node bulletin board app. Let's go to this directory, bulletin board app, and you see here the Docker file, backend, index.html, package.json, readme, server.js, site css. Our focus is Docker file. Let's look at this file, and very interesting, very simple. From node, current slim, we are going to change them, copy, run. Let's look at the file, let's look at the command, and we are going to change this file. In fact, we are going to create our own Docker file, and the app.json and the index.html and the backend fonts. We are going to look at this one by one. Let's understand. So we have gone to this directory now, bulletin board app. We are working in the directory. Check the Docker file in the bulletin board application. Make sure you are in the directory node bulletin board app in the terminal. Yes, we are. Build your bulletin board image directly without wasting time. So let's build the app with the Docker file. So docker build -tag bulletin board 1.10 from the current directory, and this dot is very important. We are going to specify that from where to build, which directory. So the current directory, so dot, and this will show you the process. sending build context to Docker daemon, pulling the images, and the build process is complete. Let's see the IP address of this machine, because we need to access it from outside the machine 10.0.0.4. okay. So what we saw here is build the bulletin board image. We build that, and remember the dot space and followed by dot. If successful, the build process should end with a message successfully tagged bulletin board. That's what we precisely got, and this is a sequence of command which was working. Run the following command to start the container based on your new image. Docker run publish 8.0.8080:8080 detach -- name bb bulletin board 1.0. What this command will do, options are given here. For example, when I say publish 8.0.8080:8080, this publish will ask Docker to forward a traffic incoming on the host port 8000 to the containers port 8080. That means we are going to pass this, you are going to use the port number 8000 inside the container. The application is running on port number 8080, so whatever traffic comes on port number 8000 will be forwarded to the container on port number 8080. That's the meaning of the publish option. Containers have their own private set of ports. Now detach will ask the Docker to run this container in the background, not in the foreground. Name is specify a name with which you can refer to your container in subsequent command, in this case the bb, and let's run it. So Docker run publish 8000 forwarded to 8080 detach mode name bb bulletin board 1.0, and this will run it. Now you can check it on the browser. Of course the port number is 8000, and that's it. Your bulletin board is running, and it is running on port number 8000, is being forwarded to port number 8080 on this. So this is a sample application. Our focus is not the functionality, but this application is running inside the container, and we are able to watch the container. We are able to execute the application inside the container and access it outside the container. So this is running the application as a container. Visit your application in the browser at localhost:8000, and this is what you saw just now. That's all for this session. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.